Hello and welcome to Series 3 of the Brett Chat Sports or BCS Podcast. We're going to start this third series with a preview of Super Bowl 59 and we'll be hearing from a variety of fans on how they think the big game will play out. Let's start by looking at both teams though. It's a repeat of Super Bowl 57 with the AFC champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, playing the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles. This is what I said about the Chiefs in my NFL 2024 season preview. Next to the AFC West and the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. I say this as a Patriots fan, but Patrick Mahomes has already made a very strong case for being considered one of, if not the greatest quarterback of all time. If he can now go on and surpass Tom Brady's record 7 Super Bowl wins, there might not even be a debate anymore. Again, I say this as a Patriots fan from the 90s who saw Bill Belichick come in and create a dynasty. If the Chiefs can go on this season and win a third consecutive Super Bowl, making it 4 Super Bowl wins in 6 seasons, then they too could make a very strong argument for being considered the greatest team in NFL history as well. And I have to say, I still stand by that. The Chiefs have found a way to win this season, even though they have not been playing as well as we are used to. It speaks volumes of both Patrick Mahomes and the head coach Andy Reid that the Chiefs got to a 15-2 regular season record, even though the offense wasn't firing on all cylinders. It's very telling that they are now playing better as the playoffs have progressed then, and so there is every chance that they could achieve the three-peat that Travis Kelce called for in his post-Super Bowl 58 victory speech. However, they are going up against a very good Eagles team that I had this to say about in the season preview episode. The Philadelphia Eagles' big free agent signing this season was Saquon Barkley, alongside the likes of CJ Gardner-Johnson and CJ Uzomah, among others. It has to be said though that the Eagles had an alarming decline last season as it went on, particularly on defence, and so it may be that the Eagles' best off-season signing was their new defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, who hopefully might help to offset the loss of the influential centre Jason Kelce to retirement on offence. And I can confidently say that I stand by everything I said. While it took a few weeks for Vic Fangio's ideas to bed in, the Eagles actually ended up having the best defence this season. And a lot of that is down to the fact that Jason Kelce's replacement, Cam Jurgens, has played very well, alongside the emergence of someone like Zach Baun and the wonderful play of guys like Landon Dickerson, Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean and Darius Slay at all levels of the defence. Add to that an offence where Saquon Barkley has quite frankly played like a man possessed, and his presence has actually helped the run game of both Jalen Hurts and Kenneth Gainwell as well, and all the ingredients are there for the Eagles to be able to win. It has to be said then, this certainly could and should be a wonderful Super Bowl 59 game between two fantastic teams. That's enough from me though. Let's hear from some fans of both teams, starting with Eagles fan and friend of the show, Ryan Owen.
If the Eagles are going to win this game, they're going to win the battles in the trenches. And that's where it could get tough for Kansas. Kansas is a fantastic team. I really like Andy Reid. I have a soft spot for him, even though it didn't quite work out in the end for the Eagles. Actually, he had a great run with Donovan McNabb, getting to multiple NFC Championship games and just never quite took the next step. And it's a shame that he's done that with Kansas and not with Philly because, you know, I think most Eagles fans do like the man. I was happy for him when they beat us in the last Super Bowl. I wasn't happy that they won, but seeing him celebrate was a lovely moment. And as much as I like him, I don't really want to see him celebrating again. I think it'll be a great Super Bowl. I'm sure that both teams will show up.
And here is what Eagles fan and New Jersey native Jesse Depp had to say ahead of Sunday's game.
They are ready, they are hungry, they are underdogs, and Philadelphia has been an underdog forever. So for them to come back and avenge the 2023 Super Bowl, I think they're ready. They're ready to win this. I think they are going to win by shutting down Travis Kelce with the exciting whites, with Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship. And of course, the brilliant running by Saquon Barkley, who is going to be the MVP for Super Bowl. And I don't know, he's just MVP in my life right now. Yeah, so I think they shut down Travis Kelce. Chiefs are pretty boring. I mean, what is this, the new Patriots? Like, let's shut them down. Patrick Mahomes looks like Darlene from Roseanne, so there's that. The Taylor Swift spin is kind of, old news. So I think everyone's ready for a Philadelphia Eagles win. I know I am. So, like I said, Sundays are for the birds. And go Eagles, go birds.
We've already talked about Saquon Barkley, who moved to the Eagles from the New York Giants last off-season, a lot in this episode. Here is what Giants fan and Long Island resident, the British expat Ross Worsley, had to say about Saquon Barkley as part of a chat that I had with him for an upcoming episode of this podcast. Do you begrudge Barkley all the success that he's had this season for the Eagles, or are you happy for him? Do you want him to do well, given that he's a former Giant? Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I don't begrudge him. I mean, I wish it was for someone, a different team outside the division, but I don't really, begrudge him leaving and trying to do, get some records, win a ring, stuff like that. Why wouldn't you do that if you're a good player like he is? So, I wish he was at the Ravens or, Chiefs instead, something like that outside. But yeah, no, I don't begrudge him. Some people here do, because I think mostly because he went to Philadelphia, which is, for me, my most hated sports city. So I think some people, that's why they were booing him probably. But no, overall, I don't begrudge him leaving and trying to, do better for himself.
Over to the Chiefs now. Here is what Kansas City native, the award-winning children's author and academic, Dr. Mimi Thibault, had to say about her beloved Chiefs.
I think this game is going to be won or lost on the ground with some excellent running backs and two quarterbacks that are not afraid to scramble. I'm really excited to watch Saquon Barkley, although I hope there's nothing to see because I hope Spagnuolo manages to virtually stop him. I think that the Chiefs are going to win, although, any given Sunday, and the Eagles are an excellent team.
The wonderful thing about the NFL is that everyone has an opinion. Here is where some old and new friends of the show think the game will be won and lost.
Hi, I'm Jason Durr. Where the game will be won, I think if they can establish the run, I think that's going to be the key to the game. If we do that, that will open up the passing game, and that was where the game will be lost. So if the run game's established, it's going to open up all sorts of spots in the passing game. And so those defensive backs are really going to be tested with both quarterbacks.
Hi, I'm Brett, and I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. These are two really good teams. They've had terrific seasons, looked even better probably in the postseason. So I think both the Eagles and Chiefs are going to show up ready to play and going to be a fantastic game. So ultimately, the key for me, I think it really comes down to what the Chiefs can do to slow down Barkley and what kind of a game Barkley's able to have.
I think it could come down to can Jalen Hurts come good for the Eagles? Can he find AJ Brown? Can he find Devonta Smith? Can he find some way other than Saquon to break the Chiefs open?
I think Super Bowl 59 will be won with Steve Spagnuolo and his defense, because if the Eagles have a hope in this game, it's Saquon Barkley hitting 3 home runs. It is, breaking through all the lines of defense, maybe a couple 50, 60-yard runs, something like we saw them do against the Rams, just absolutely obliterate from deep against the options. I mean, it's going to be a domed turf, so, they don't get the chaos of a snow game. But I think their best way of winning is Saquon Barkley having an all-timer Super Bowl. And I think stopping that assures the win.
The game will be lost by dumb mistakes. These teams are excellently staffed. They are very well coached. And so it's going to come down to marginal things. Ball security, of course, not giving away dumb yardage penalties, minding the clock, all those kinds of nuts and bolts things that Andy Reid is actually so good at.
If the Eagles run against what is a pretty good Kansas City run defense, it's played quite well recently, then the Eagles will be very tough to beat. That's Barkley. It's Gainwell if he comes through the concussion protocol, and hurts himself, of course. Where could the game be lost? Well, Tom Brady kept talking actually on commentary last week. I found it so interesting to listen to him. He kept saying that nothing good comes when you hold the ball for too long. And Jalen Hurts can be guilty of that. In fact, it got so annoying during the game last week. Brady kept saying it and saying it. What I was saying to my wife as I was watching the game, he's making a good point, because every time it happened, it became a little panicky. You're either going to lose yards on the sack, or what Hurts does sometimes is he loses the ball. So Jalen Hurts could potentially beat himself and his own team if he holds onto the ball too long.
And here's who everyone thinks will be the key players in Sunday's game, including some possible unsung heroes.
I think the key players, obviously Saquon, obviously Mahomes, obviously Hurts, but those Eagles cornerbacks have been so good all season, and they're going to have to do it again against probably one of the best quarterbacks that's ever lived. Especially in terms of, making things happen, making that big play when he needs it. So they're going to have to be on their game.
So the key player to watch, I think it's be Saquon Barkley. I think the running game that Philly has this year is outstanding. He's been just a talented player, so I think he's going to be the key of the game.
I think, Saquon's the player to watch, because if he has an all-timer game, he can beat any team on his own.
Really, the players to watch for the Eagles, if they're going to win as well, are the players on the D-line. The defensive linemen, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, as well as sack machine Nolan Smith from the edge, Zach Bourne as well. It's these defensive players that provide this team. They make this team a team. It's not just about Saquon. It's not just about the quarterback.
Trent McDuffie, the cornerback on the Kansas City Chiefs, said he's just played a blinder for us all year. He's so versatile. He's so creative. He's so fast. He's so lethal.
Things are finally poised going into Sunday's game then. Both teams do have injury concerns, but both teams still also have difference makers available to them on both sides of the ball and on special teams. Let's end then by hearing from all of our contributors on who they think will win Super Bowl 59.
But I think the Chiefs are going to win, because I think that Patrick Mahomes, or Hat-Trick Mahomes as he will henceforth be known, is so reliable on those third down situations where there's an really important, crucial point in a playoff game.
I genuinely believe that it's going to be a great game. I think the Philadelphia Eagles will win.
I do think the Chiefs are going to win this. I just think the Steve Spagnuolo's defense this postseason has been absolutely superb. They've been nailed on every single game. When they need the trick defense, they've handled it, and when they've needed reliable defense, they've had it too. So I think they'll be able to manage Saquon to a good but not earth-shattering game.
Who do I think I win, and who do I want to win? That's two different stories. Who do I want to win? I'm rooting for Philadelphia in this one. Who do I think will win? I hate to say the Chiefs, but I think the Chiefs are going to win.
When it comes to the Super Bowl this year, I'm pretty divided. I think Patrick Mahomes is an absolutely amazing athlete. I remember seeing him his rookie year, just jumping over people and juking and twisting, and it was amazing. And I've been a huge fan of his ever since, so I'd be really happy if he won. That said, the Chiefs have won a lot in the last few years. So, as long as the Eagles can bring it, I'm happy for them to win. Packers aren't in it, so I'm just looking for a good game.
I reckon it'll be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way. I reckon Eagles in a tight one, based on the strength of Saquon and the odd massive throw from Hurts will get them over the line. I think the Chiefs will stick with them the whole way. But I think that the Eagles will just have the edge.
And here is who the contributors think will be the Super Bowl LIX MVP.
Again, I think the MVP is going to be Hat-Trick Mahomes.
I think Patrick Mahomes wins another Super Bowl MVP.
If the Eagles win, it'll be because of Saquon. It'll be because the Chiefs have failed to stop Saquon, and he's gonna do his thing. He's gonna have one of those ridiculous 60-yard rushes.
I think Saquon Barkley is going to be the first running back to win the MVP award since Terrell Davis won in 1998 with the Denver Broncos, and that will be in helping lead the Philadelphia Eagles to be the 2025 Super Bowl champions.
As for me, as I said at the start of this episode, the Chiefs have kept finding a way to win, even though they have not been playing at their best this season. That is what champions are made of, and they have gotten better as the season and particularly as the playoffs have progressed. And so they very much feel like Thanos at this point. They are inevitable. That being said, if the Eagles do find a way to win, it will be richly deserved, as they have been one of, if not the best team to watch as a neutral this season. And in particular, I've really enjoyed seeing Saquon Barkley perform at the level he has been all season. Once again, thank you to everyone who contributed to this episode. This brings an end to another episode of the BCS Podcast. As always, I thank you very much for joining me, and I certainly hope to see you again next time. Bye bye now. The BCS Podcast is written, produced, edited and hosted by me, Brett Walker. Thank you to Boris Anderoff and Pixabay for the use of the music and sound effects in this podcast. This episode features contributions from Ian Darlington, Jesse Depp, Jason Durr, Brett Griffin, Freddie Law-Keane, Dr. Mimi Febo, Jason Toms and Ross Worsley.